Welcome back, YouTube. Since last time we left you, Commander21 has been doing a little bit of wood chopping. You can see I've got a lot of new chests as well. These two are empty. This one's got lots more wood stuff. It's raining right now, otherwise I'd go outside and show you. I've also done some mining. Look at that. Remember, if you're on a ladder, you can hold shift to stop. I've dug some stuff out there. And dug a lot out down here. Now, mining is quite slow and tedious, but there are ways around that, and I'm going to show you one of them here. Quite cheap ways too. I mean, it doesn't take all that many resources to make or maintain. Found some resources here. I just haven't gotten to an iron pickaxe to get that gold right now. So, just for you guys, a note between, like pickaxes. I mean, if you've got a wood pickaxe, that's fine. But it's not going to last as long as, say, a stone or an iron pickaxe. And it's not going to chop through things as quickly. But something I'm going to do to make pickaxes almost obsolete here is I'm going to press the E key to get into my inventory. And for me, along the right-hand side here, I've got this whole menu. And essentially what it does is it allows me to click on something, say, a chest. And it shows me how to make it. It's just cycling through different types of wood I can use. And how do I get this item, the jungle wood planks? Click on it, it'll show you, or birchwood. If you click on this and it puts a bunch of stuff in your inventory, that's kind of cheating. You can come and click options and then swap it to recipe mode here instead of cheat mode. But what I want to build is a turtle. More specifically, I want a mining turtle, which is just a regular turtle with a diamond pickaxe. Now, it says diamond, but you can use sapphire, green sapphire. There's a few other ones you can use. I'm not using diamonds. I think I'm using rubies. It's a lot cheaper. So, how do you make this turtle thing? I'll click on it. You can use 7 iron ingots, a chest, and a computer. The computer's pretty simple, just 7 stone, a glass pane, and some redstone. Redstone is a resource you can get way down deep in the ground. Way at the bottom by level 8. I've picked up a little bit of that. To make a glass pane, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to put some sand here. I'm just going to go ahead and put like 6 of it in there. Okay. I'm going to build an iron pickaxe for when we go back down there. And that's just going to be for me to be holding on to. I already did all the stone here, just because that takes a long time. So we're going to need the stone. We're going to need pickaxes, and I'm going to be using, sapphire. Got sticks for those. So I'll make those up. Something you may notice is no tools can stack on top of each other. So like this 35 stone here, stone can stack on itself. Tools can't. So, for what it's worth. Torches can, but swords and whatnot that have a health, they will not. So let's grab this glass now. I'm going to turn glass into glass panes. Is like that. I think it's a 16 glass panes. Okay. So, for our turtle, rather for the computer inside it, we're going to need stone across the top, redstone, and the glass pane. Now, another interesting thing about this is if you click the question mark there, it actually puts these in the background for you on your crafting table. Now, if you leave the crafting table, come back, it's going to be gone. But it can be helpful. So there, we've got 4 computers, which are useful for things other than just turtles, by the way, just so you know. Now we're going to need some chests. We're going to need 4 chests. Now, I mean, if you want, you can go around and do everything I'm going to do with just 1 turtle. Plant torches behind it as it goes. Pick stuff up. Because, like, you know, if it's, you know, mining away, it's not going to be able to get every resource, is what I'm saying. You'll see that when we start running it, is, it just doesn't have the ability to get everything. Where the heck is the rest of my... Oh, geez. Stone. I'm sorry, it's the iron I'm looking for. Oops, I apparently do not have enough iron. My mistake. So I'm just going to start dropping everything back over here in the chest. I'm going to go down digging for some. Iron, generally, you're going to find right up here around 40. I'm at 41 right now. Same difference. You're also going to find, I think I mentioned copper here. Copper is a very useful resource. You use it for lots of things, especially once you get into nuclear power. There's uranium in the game. It spawns quite rarely. Down. There's really no areas where it spawns. It just kind of is random everywhere. Obviously underground. But yeah, it's a great power source. It's quite expensive to build, though. You need tons, literally tons of copper. So try not to use it if at all possible. Copper wires are the cheapest ones to build for transferring electricity. But, oh yay, iron. But they're not the most effective. They lose electricity as they go, so you can do other things like, you know, iron and glass fiber cables instead. And not only do they not use your copper, they're a little bit more efficient. I think copper loses 1/4 of a power for every block it goes, whereas, like, the glass fiber cables lose 1/4 of the power for every 44 blocks they go. So you can see the difference there, and it doesn't sound like much, so be it 1 power. But you know, like a solar panel only puts out 20 power a second. And if you're running that to a house that's 80 squares away, you've already lost half of it by the time you get there. Or something to that effect. I haven't done the math in my head. Okay, we've got a little bit more iron now. We probably don't have enough. So I'm actually just going to keep mining for a little while. Trick when mining, yeah, I forgot about that, is if you're doing it by hand, you probably want to do something like this. 2 tall, and just go back, and then come over 3. Because what happens is when you mine here, you can see everything around you. You can see this, you can see that, you can see the ceiling and down this wall. Now if I start mining here, all I can see is this. Now I've already seen this wall when I mined it over here, so I'm not learning anything new on this side. All I'm learning is what's in front of me, the 1 block on the ceiling, and this wall. Now, if I put this here, I'll learn all the same stuff. I still learn that ceiling block. I learn the 2 on the right side, which I hadn't learned before, and I've got the 2 on the left side still. So you open up more spots. It's more efficient on your pickaxe. You get to see more spots for less chopping away. So this is what copper looks like. It's probably the most valuable resource in the game. And you may think, oh yeah, I've got 2 64s of it. But I mean, when you get like 10 64s, you're still going to need more. It's just getting stuff for the nuclear reactor is quite expensive, but it is well worth it. I mean, never having to build anything for power again. I mean, one game I tried to do everything off solar panels and that kind of thing, and it's like, well, you can do that. And they are fairly effective, because then you can do things like solar arrays, and instead of putting out just 1 electricity, it puts out 4. Sorry, my mistake. It puts out 8. But it uses 8 solar panels. And just remember, you can just press E to find out how to build something. So like, oopsies, solar. So if that's a solar panel. Actually, no, that's an array. I'm sorry. That's a solar panel. So that's how you build it, and it's actually quite expensive. It uses generators and electronic circuits and a low voltage solar array takes a transformer plus 8 of those. It gets pretty expensive, but there's really good substitutes. You've got things like geothermal generators, where if you put lava in them, they just make electricity. They work freaky well, freaky fast, produce tons of electricity, and the thing you might be saying is, well, where the heck do I get the lava from? We'll get into that here in a while. The Nether has as much lava as you could possibly ever want, and there's ways that you can set stuff up so it automatically just teleports out. Obviously you have to set it up, but it'll teleport itself out. So I've got all the iron I need. Just going to finish off this little chunk of stuff here and head back in. There's also other things in the game you can get that make your resources more useful. So like when I put this, a 1 iron ore, a 1 iron ore in the furnace, I'm going to get 1 iron ingot. Now, that's great. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. You don't lose anything, but you also don't gain anything. You started with 1 and you end with 1. That's, a net 0 kind of a thing. There's ways around that. There's something they added in 1Tekkit with one of the mods. It's called a macerator. Essentially what it does is it takes 1 ore, anything, iron, not coal, coal doesn't have an ore, but you can use like tin or silver or copper or gold ores, and it takes that 1 ore and produces 2. If I put an iron ore in there, it will produce 2 iron dust, and then each of those dust goes and makes an iron. So essentially I've just made 2 for the price of 1, which is kind of helpful. Also, you can use this and it auto-alphabetizes them. Something you may notice is the crap load of cobblestone you end up collecting. There's a couple of ways to deal with that. You can just say, okay, this is my chest, it's dedicated to cobblestone. Or you can just go, build a hole in your house and... Whoopsies, not that spot. Don't build it there. We want to build a hole in our house here. You can just, start... Yeah, then you can do this. Click, and just click out here. You start dropping all the cobblestone in there, and after a while it'll just disappear. A few days or so, it'll just disappear. Or, another thing out there that we'll get into a little bit later here, it's called a deep storage unit. Again, everything I don't know if I mentioned that. If this side panel doesn't work for you, there is an alternative. There's a web page for it. It's going to be tekkitlight.wikia.com/wiki. So it's tekkitlitte.wikia.com. You can go there and say you want to start looking around and say, okay, how do I build something? Well, you can come over here and there is or was a search bar here somewhere. I'm sorry, it's right at the top here, kind of outside your screen. Let me pull it in. There we are, right at the top here. And say you want to find out how to build a deep storage unit. You're going to hit enter, and it auto comes up with a page if it knows what it is. Otherwise, it'll just show you a list. You got a deep storage unit here. I'll show you. Oh, how do you build? This is how you build that. You've got to have a machine block, and it's a factory machine block. Some plastic sheets here, and a bunch of chests. So it's quite cheap for that recipe. Or the other recipe is doing this. These ender pearls and eye of enders you don't want to mess with. You get them from Enderman, and they're a nightmare. Usually. Until you get some kind of armor and high damage weapons. But that gets you deep storage units, and those have essentially no limit to how much stuff they can carry.